So it looks like Jermell Charlo is back. The man jumps on Instagram and makes a post. He's working the bag. He's hitting the mitts. Tells us 154 is his. The 154-pound king is back. Now, look, I understand why the man has so much confidence and why he's re-announcing himself in the division with so much vigor, okay? He went out there and he's snatched up everything, okay? He has reason to have all that confidence. We saw what he did against Martirosyan, Tony Harrison, Castano. He went out there, he racked up these wins, man. He earned what he earned. But there's something we need to keep in mind. Number one is this dude has been incredibly inactive. So he's 34, maybe going to be 35 years old before we see him, but he's only been fighting once a year since 2020, and it's going to be probably 2 years out before we see him again. That's number one. Inactive fighter, 34, maybe 35 years old. And number two, last time we saw him, he had moved up 2 weight classes and got pounded on by Canelo, right? Thoroughly dominated in that fight. So here's the thing. Even though we've gone out and we've seen him do what he's done, he's very skilled, very explosive, very athletic. He's done all these things. He's looked good in the past, the technique, the power, and blah, blah, blah. All of this stuff, right? Is that going to be the same guy that we see come back? Is that going to be the same guy that we see in the ring? Okay, because I'll tell you this, boxing is not kind to inactive fighters. Ring rust is a real thing, and when guys don't step in the ring frequently, we see what happens to their skills. And there's just such little room margin for error when you're talking about fighting at the absolute top level. And number two, boxing has traditionally not been kind to fighters that move up in weight and then come back down. The example that breaks my heart, man, growing up, Roy Jones Jr. We saw what happened when he moved up in weight, went all the way up to heavyweight, fought Ruiz, got the belt, comes back down to 175. The rest is history. Right now, you can make the argument that there's more to the story than that, but I will tell you, I've always believed that quick back drop down to 175, man, it was too brutal on the body. So you look at Charlo coming off, like I said, he's an older fighter, 34, 35 years old. He moves up to 168. He gets pounded on. He's dropping back down to 154. Is that going to take a little bit of pep out of his step? Is he going to come out and look a little bit flat? Is he going to come out and not have quite the same explosiveness or be able to move the way that he did or be able to put a combination together with quite that same speed? Because it doesn't take much to just get to drop down just that little bit, okay? Think about the guys that we're talking about him stepping in there against when we're talking about the best in the world at 154. Murtazaliev, Vendora, Virgil Ortiz. Right underneath them, we're talking about Charles Conwell, Xander Zayas. I mean, I know he beat Erickson Lubin before, right? It's one of his super impressive victories, but has Lubin grown since then? Is Charlo going to have lost a little bit, and we're going to be talking about a potentially different fight if they step in? Anyways, doesn't matter. We're talking about the top guys at 154. We're talking about some highly skilled fighters. So how's he going to look when he's going to come in there and against those guys, right? That's the real question. And I'm going to be fascinated to see it, to be perfectly honest with you. Okay, Charlo he's always gone out there and been entertaining. We've always had the criticism of him not being active enough and fighting enough, and now all of a sudden he wants to come back because, look, he's been out for a little while. That Canelo money's good. You go out there, you get that money's long. It's going to last for a little while, but now he's stepping back into the game. All right, so we're going to see how all this goes based off of his age, based off the inactivity, based off the level of competition that he's going to be stepping in there against. But I'll tell you what, 2 things. Number one, if he can't quite climb that mountaintop, it doesn't take from what he's done in the past. But if he can climb to the peak of that mountain once again, man, that is going to be incredibly impressive. So let me know what you guys think. How do you feel about this comeback? You excited to see it? How do you think he's going to match up against the top guys in the division based off of all those factors? Let me know.